Hey guys, my name is Christy Bradley, and I am here today to talk to you about moon cycles. And although we will be discussing the lunar cycles of Grandmama Moon and how they coincide with our cycles, our menstrual cycles will be the focal point of this conversation. So, a little bit about me and my background. I am a spiritual moon cycle coach. I teach women how to navigate their moon cycles and their ebb and flows in order to be more productive and more confident in their womanhood. We as a society, as women of the society, have been pushing in our masculine for so long. We have been trying to be what men are, and our bodies do not work like that. Our bodies are designed beautifully to coincide with the seasons of Mother Nature, and we go through 4 seasons a month. And as I had been working with women and seeing the lack of the understanding and connection with their own cycles because of what we've been told in society, that we need to work hard and there is no time to take off. In order to get ahead, get ahead or be the boss, we have to work like men. Well, it doesn't work like that, ladies. I'm here to tell you that there is a completely different way of navigating our cycles and to understand how we work and to be way more productive than what we're doing and running ourselves down. So, as I'm coaching, helping these women, I've been a fitness instructor, personal trainer for 12 years. I saw this disconnect, and I decided to go back to school to become a health coach because there were so many more factors in getting healthy and being well that I needed to learn about. So I went back to school back in 2014 to become a health coach, and I got my certification as a health coach. And wow, it was a journey for myself and understanding myself and how I worked. And so it helped me so much in understanding how my own body worked, and how I needed to eat and I needed to work out, and how I needed to bring in the personal development and the spirituality. And about a year after I graduated, I found that spirituality was the missing piece in my entire well-being pie. And so I dove into spirituality. And as I was diving into spirituality, I found out that there was a huge disconnect from myself to my body and understanding how I worked as a woman. And this is not something that we are really taught growing up. We're not taught in health class. We're given the basics, and the basics just don't cut it for us as women. And then, a lot of women are in their 20s, mid-20s, maybe early 30s, trying to have a child, and they're just figuring out how their bodies work as women. And this needs to be taught at a younger age. And the reason I do the work I do is so those women will pass it down to their children, because that is a huge part of what's missing in the teachings passed down from mother to daughter, from grandmother to granddaughter. We've lost that. And this is stuff we all should know as women. And so I want to be able to help other women so they can teach, so we don't have a generation of women coming up going, I have no idea about my body. So diving into my spirituality is what got me here. I was curious on how to get my cycle regular. So I started researching because I had read in a book that this woman had actually just gone out and done what is called moon bathing in order to sync her cycle up with the moon. Because we as women, our cycles we're named, we're mapped after the moon cycle. So this is not a new practice, ladies. This is something that has been done for a very long time. We've just lost this connection with Mother Earth. We've lost the connection with the moon cycles because we're not actively out there as farmers growing crops, because our ancestors had to follow the moon cycles because of this. Well, of course, the women would as well, and their cycles would sync up with the moon. So I began moon bathing, going outside and sitting under it didn't have to be full, but it had to be visible, and just sitting out under the moonlight for 15 minutes. And I started to do this for myself, and after about a month, my cycle began to sync up with the moon. And I was bleeding on the full moon. When this happened, I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, it works. So I started diving deeper into understanding my cycle as a woman. And I'm like, why do we not know any of this? Why is this not taught? Why did our mothers not pass it down to us? It's because it's so taboo. We have been taught to be shamed, or to be ashamed of our cycles, of our bleed. And that's all they knew. They were only teaching us what they knew. So we can't hold them responsible. It's society's doing over time conditioning. So I began to start my moon journal, and I definitely recommend you all start a moon journal and track your cycles. Women do this in order to get pregnant, in order to track their ovulation. There are you can get down to very scientific ways of checking your temperature every morning, every evening. But that's really if you're doing the fertility plan. I just did basic, I wanted to see how my body and how my moods change throughout each phase of my cycle. So I began journaling how I reacted in situations, maybe what set me off that day, how I was feeling towards my partner, how I was feeling towards my coworkers, what I ate, how I was able to exercise. So all of this happened over about this journaling. It took about 3 months to where I was able to begin to see the patterns. And when I read about each phase and what usually happens during each phase, I was noticing my patterns were spot on with what I was reading happens during your phases. And I was like, holy cow, my mind was just blown of how we didn't know this, and how right and spot on with the seasons of Mother Earth we are. We are cyclic beings, and we have lost touch from understanding her cycles. We are a direct reflection of Mother Nature, and it's so beautiful. So I began to teach other women because I knew this wasn't anything that a lot of women had been taught either. So I've been teaching other women, diving into research, and I'm more connected with the earth now than I have been in a very long time. And it is amazing. So let's dive into how each of these phases works, what moods you go into, how it coincides with the moon phases, and what season it coincides with. So we're going to start with the maiden phase. The maiden phase is your springtime. So if you think about spring and what spring is like, everything's starting to bloom. Everything's getting Twitter-pated. It's all excited. They're coming out of hibernation. The animals are. It's a time of sensuality. You're completely into yourself here. The scientific term for this phase is your follicular phase. It is associated with the waxing moon, and it can be up to, our cycles are all different. So the amount of days each phase is going to vary from woman to woman, and that's totally fine. So this is about 7 to 10, maybe 7 to 14 days. This is where you're very, very bold and you're energetic and you're very sociable. So it's great to get out in social settings at this time. Your communication is on point. You're very independent and assertive in manner. So it's a good time to be around people. This is the time that you want to be around people in your cycle. The type of exercise that you can do at this point in time, because your hormones are they're rising, you're able to do more high impact workouts. And trying something new is okay here. Because you're very open to that. So after your maiden phase, we come into your mother phase. And so after spring comes summer, so this will be associated with summer. This will also be associated with the full moon. And the scientific term for this is ovulatory phase. So this is the time of ovulation. So summer, think of summer. Everything is going good. There's warmth. The sunshine is shining. This can last 3 to 4 days depending on your cycle. Mine usually lasts about 3 days, depending. And I'm going to get a little sciencey with you here as far as hormonal levels go. So your estrogen levels are rising, and your testosterone. This is where your estrogen and your testosterone are in sync. So they're at the same level. And it will drop once your testosterone will drop once your egg is released. At this time, just think you're feeling frisky around ovulation time. This is what Lisa Lister, the author of Love Your Lady Landscape, this is what she calls your time of when your light's flashing, come and get it. So your pheromones are emanating from your body, and that will attract a mate. So it's like, come fertilize me. So it's a really good time if you are wanting to ask for a raise. This is a good time to do that because your communication skills are on point. You're able to explain things clearly, and your communication is just perfect for that. It's a good time for first dates, although since you are flashing that sign, I don't know if first dates are a good time for this phase. But high impact workouts are also okay here, and especially in group sittings because you're still in that phase of you're open for communication. So that is your mother phase. Next we have, after summer comes the fall. And if you think about the fall, you think things are not dying yet, but the leaves are falling off the trees. Mother Nature is preparing for winter time. So this is kind of what your body does. You're in your wild woman phase. This is my favorite. The time before the bleed. The scientific term is luteal phase. It is the waning moon that is associated with this. And it can last up to 7 to 14 days, depending on your cycle. I know mine has lasted up to somewhere up to 14 days before. It's a really good time to just prepare to draw inward, to start preparing your body to bleed. We are called to spend time inside, away from people. It's a great time to start journaling and really honing in on those feelings that are happening. This is also, and we all have probably been through it before, but this is also a time of PMS, and that doesn't have to be a part of it though. Due to our hormones dropping, it can cause those bouts of crying, feeling a little depressed. Your body goes through a little bit of a depression because it's releasing that egg, and that is one egg you're losing. So your body's, and your body's designed to make a baby. And once it's realized that it's not making that baby, it gets a little sad. So it's okay to feel sad. Feel through those emotions. Your intuition is really heightened at this point in time. But it's a good time to spend by yourself. You also might notice that your bullshit detector is at its highest. So be aware of that. And also, I know for myself at this point in time, I have a really, really, really sharp tongue. And I have to watch how I talk to people and just be aware that I'm not going to hold back. Like, it is, I put it out there. So you might be at that point too in your life where you see that. So you just, once you see the patterns, you can navigate situations or maybe limit yourself from being around people. And so it's all a learning experience when diving into all of this. Also at this time, if your body starts to nest, so you might start cleaning a lot because your body's getting ready to rest, to bleed. So it's become my favorite phase in the whole thing. And honestly, the wild woman phase and my crone phase, which is coming next. So my bleed phase has become one of my favorites. going deep into thoughts and emotions has been really good for me. So the crone phase is the winter. And if you think of winter, things are going into hibernation. The darkness is setting in. This is associated with the new moon. And this is your menstruation phase. Your estrogen is at rock bottom, so you don't have a lot of energy. And so you want to kind of conserve that energy. So rest is so important. And I know there are people out there that are like, I'm pushing through my bleed. I'm not going to take that rest. I don't need it. My body can handle it. I'm a strong woman. I'm here to tell you it's okay to take it off. It's okay to take that first day and rest. I've spent this last year honoring that phase, honoring that first day too. Really, really sinking deep and feeling whatever comes up. Great time to journal those feelings. And you also, at this time, your intuition is super heightened. So it's a good time to go in and listen to that woman's face and see what she's saying. It is a time of creative ideas, but write those creative ideas and don't act on them just yet. You want to utilize your maiden and mother phases for those actions. You don't want to do that while you're still on your bleed. So I know that sometimes I get to the point where I'm like, but I want to act right now. And I have to say, no, slow down. Let that be for your next 2 phases, because that's what your maiden and your mother phases are for. So, yeah, let yourself rest. It's okay. And I know we don't get told that enough. So I'm here to tell you, resting is okay. I'm a fitness instructor, and I don't even like to work out on the first day of my bleed anymore. I teach a practice, luckily, that allows for a lot of spiraling, so it allows for that massaging of the womb space, but even still, sometimes my body's like, no, lay down. So taking that time, that first 2 days, is so important for the rest of your cycle. Like that will definitely set the tone for the rest of your cycle. So this can be up to 7 days for some people. I've gotten mine down to 3. So yeah, think of your crone phase, your bleed phase. Think of that phase as a time every month that is designed in our bodies to release toxins, old emotions, anything we need to get rid of, just anything that that does not serve us. So it's a really good time to do some releasing. So as a cycle whole, so your 4 phases, you do have a masculine half and a feminine half. So your masculine half is the half that is the mother and the maiden. So this is more action-oriented things that you do. So it's more you can push through. Your other half, your wild woman and your crone phase, those are your feminine. So that's more of a slow down, turn inward type of action. So think about that as you're navigating your month, and plan. You can learn to plan things in your business. You can learn to plan your workouts this way by using this navigation system. There was one other thing that I wanted to touch on. Oh, crap. Well, I don't remember. I think that was all. Let me see if I missed anything. All right. Well, I hope that this helped you. It has definitely helped me and a lot of women that I have coached to help them with their lives. I've seen an improvement, and I've seen progression, and I've seen women just really come alive when they understand the way that their body works. And I hope that you go out and you utilize this system and you do your journaling, find your ebb and flow. It's so important for us as women to find our ebb and flow, because we are not supposed to be working like men. You can find me on Facebook if you want to follow me on Facebook. My name is Christy Lynn Bradley. I'm also on Instagram as Wild Woman Unbridled. And you can find my website at ChristyLynnBradley.com. I think that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a fantastic rest of your time in this program. Embrace it. And we'll see you soon. Must be.